It is late evening, and you step out onto your patio with a flashlight. There, moving slowly across the damp stone, is a slug. Its body glistens. It leaves a silver trail behind it, catching the beam of your light. Something in you tightens. You already know where this is going, because you have done it before. You go back inside, you reach for the salt, and you come back out ready to end it. You have watched a slug shrivel under salt before. You have seen it curl and foam and collapse in on itself in a matter of seconds. Stop. Before you tip that salt, I need you to wait 1 second, because what you are about to do is not just cruel in a way most people never think about. It is a genuine mistake. You are about to destroy one of the most efficient recyclers on your entire property, and the reason salt works the way it does is far stranger and far more disturbing than you realize. By the end of today, you will understand exactly what happens inside that slug when the salt hits it. You will understand why some of the most experienced gardeners in the country have made a deliberate decision to leave slugs exactly where they are, and you will never look at that silver trail on your patio the same way again. Let us start with the salt, because the truth of it is worse than you think. A slug is almost entirely water. Its skin is not skin the way yours is. It is thin, soft, and permeable, which means water passes through it constantly in both directions. That is why a slug must stay in damp places. It is leaking moisture every moment it is alive. When you pour salt onto that wet body, the salt dissolves instantly into the film of mucus coating the slug. Now you have a concentrated salt solution sitting directly against a membrane that water can move straight through. Water always moves from where it is abundant to where it is scarce, trying to balance the two sides. This is osmosis, so the water inside the slug's own cells rushes outward through its skin, trying to dilute that salt. It cannot stop it. The slug is not being burned, it is being drained. Every cell in its body is collapsing as the water is pulled out of it, and it dies of catastrophic dehydration, often within minutes. That foaming, shriveling collapse you have seen is the animal losing the very thing it is mostly made of. Let that settle for a moment. Now let us move to who this creature actually is, because the slug has one of the worst reputations in the garden, and most of it is unearned. You think of the slug as a destroyer, a thing that exists only to eat your lettuce and ruin your flowers. But the slug is not primarily a plant killer. The slug is a cleaner. Most of what a slug eats is not your living plants at all. It is dead and decaying matter, fallen leaves, rotting stems, spent petals, fungus, animal droppings, even the bodies of dead insects and other slugs. The slug is a detritivore, which is simply a plain way of saying it eats the dead so the dead does not pile up. And it does this with a mouth unlike anything you have imagined. A slug does not have teeth the way you do. It has a radula, a ribbon-like tongue covered in thousands of microscopic teeth. Depending on the species, that single tiny mouth can carry many thousands of these teeth, in some cases tens of thousands, rasping and grinding organic matter down into fragments. And this is where the story becomes extraordinary. Here is the part most people never hear. When a slug shreds a dead leaf, it is not just eating. It is doing the first and most important step of decomposition for you. A whole leaf rots slowly because bacteria and fungi can only work on its surface. But a slug tears that leaf into tiny pieces, and suddenly the surface area explodes. All those fragments give the microbes vastly more to work on, and decomposition that would have taken many weeks accelerates dramatically. The slug is a shredder in a factory line, and the microbes are the finishers. Without the shredder, the whole line slows down. A single slug can eat up to 20% of its own body weight in a single day, and it is doing that mostly on material you would otherwise be raking up and hauling away, and it does not stop there. What passes through the slug comes out the other end as nutrient-rich droppings, and even the slime trail it leaves behind feeds the soil microbes it travels over. The slug is fertilizing your ground as it moves across it. Then there is the slug that hunts other slugs, and almost no one knows this one exists. The leopard slug, a large spotted slug you have very likely seen on a wall or a compost heap, is not interested in your vegetables the way you fear. It prefers rotting matter and fungus. But when slug numbers get high, the leopard slug turns predator. It actively hunts down and eats other slugs, including the smaller destructive species that are genuinely attacking your plants. And it will eat their eggs too. So the very creature you are about to salt may be the one keeping the real pests in check. When you kill it, you are not protecting your garden. You may be removing its bodyguard. And consider what else you are feeding when you leave slugs alone. Slugs are a foundation food source for some of the most beloved animals in any healthy yard. Hedgehogs depend on them, toads eat them, Ground beetles, song thrushes, and countless birds rely on slugs as a steady meal, especially when raising their young. A yard with no slugs is a yard that quietly stops feeding all of them. The slug sits near the bottom of a chain that holds up creatures you actually want to see. Pull it out, and the whole structure above it starts to thin. So, what should you actually do? The first thing is the easiest. Leave them alone, especially the large ones on your walls, your compost, and your dead leaves. Those are almost certainly working for you, not against you. Put the salt away entirely. Salt does not stay where you pour it. It works its way into your soil, where it damages the very ground you are trying to protect, and it kills the animal in one of the slowest ways possible. If slugs are genuinely damaging specific young seedlings, do not reach for poison. Protect the plants themselves. A ring of crushed eggshell, grit, or copper tape around a vulnerable plant discourages slugs without killing anything. Water your garden in the morning instead of the evening, so the surface is dry by nightfall when slugs are most active. And if you must move a slug, simply pick it up or lift it on a leaf and carry it to the compost or a damp shaded corner where its appetite for decay is exactly what you want. If you are suddenly seeing a huge number of slugs, do not treat that as an enemy invasion. Treat it as a signal. It usually means you have abundant moisture and abundant decaying matter, and the slugs have simply arrived to do the work. The slug on your patio is not a pest that wandered in to ruin your garden. It is a cleanup crew that showed up for a job you did not know needed doing. What is the strangest creature you have found in your own garden after dark? And did you let it live, or did you reach for something? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one, and this is exactly the kind of story this community was built for. And if you want to understand another creature that most people rush to destroy, one that does its most important work completely unseen, deep beneath the surface where you will never notice it until it is gone, the next video is already waiting for you. This is 6 Legs Deep. I'll see you in the next one.